Hey, Slater Crusaders, I want to talk about packing the court, adding more people to the Supreme Court. This is something the Democrats want to do and are intent on doing. Check out this clip here. This is a press conference they had the other day. This is Senator Markey from Massachusetts. We're going to analyze almost every word of this because it's just listen to the way he pitches this. Here it is.
And we do it by adding 4 seats to the court to create a 13-member Supreme Court. These 4 new seats, to be filled by President Biden, will reconstitute the United States Supreme Court. The bench will then rightly reflect the values of the majority of the American people on whose behalf they serve. Expanding the court is constitutional. Congress has done it before, and Congress must do it again. We must expand the court, and we must abolish the filibuster to do it.
Amazing. There's so much there. Mike Davis is here. He's the president of the Article 3 Project. Among other things, he was a former clerk of Brett Kavanaugh. Mike, how are you, brother?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Great to talk to you. There's so much in that sentence right there. I want to get your thoughts on he said, the court must rightly reflect the values of the majority. Is that what the Supreme Court should do?
It's actually, the Supreme Court does the opposite. The Supreme Court protects our individual rights and liberties from majority tyranny. So it's the opposite. The court is not supposed to be a popular body. It's not supposed to follow popular opinion polls. It's supposed to follow our United States Constitution, and that's its sole job, is to tell us what the law is and make sure that these elected politicians don't overstep their bounds like we've seen over the last year with COVID, and intrude on Americans' individual rights and liberties. And so, no, it's the opposite.
I said Kavanaugh before your introduction. You were a clerk for Gorsuch. Is that right? Sorry for getting that wrong.
Justice Kavanaugh is great also. I helped him with his confirmation.
That's right. I really want to hit that point one more time. All right, this is so super important. So let's dramatize it. So in their world, the court would do majority win, majority rule. It would just be whatever majority says, just like their democracy, right? Like their pure democracy. The court just affirms whatever the values of the majority are, how you can even ever determine that. But you're suggesting that the court's job is, if 99% of the people think one thing, and they want to tyrannize the 1%, and the 1% have the law on their side, the court should protect the minority. Is that accurate? How would you word that differently?
That's absolutely right. The job of the Supreme Court and the lower federal courts is to protect everyday Americans from majority tyranny, including government overreach of the elected branches of government. So it is what the Democrats are trying to do to the Supreme Court is politicize it. For the first time in nearly 80 years, we finally have a true conservative majority on the Supreme Court with President Trump appointing Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett. And the Democrats don't like this, because what they used to do is run to the Supreme Court and have popular legislation struck down by the Supreme Courts. And now that they've lost control of the Supreme Court, they want to pack the Supreme Court. We've had 9 justices on the Supreme Court since 1869, more than 150 years ago, right after the Civil War. FDR tried to pack the Supreme Court, and it blew up in his face, even at the height of his popularity. The late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and current Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, 2 of the last 4 Democrat appointees to the Supreme Court, have come out and made the unusual, highly unusual public denouncement of court packing, because court packing is so extreme. It will politicize the Supreme Court. It will destroy the Supreme Court, and that's the Democrats' goal.
And everyone knows any time the balance of power shifts, we'll just add more people, and it'll be 100 justices soon. What's the most legitimate argument that these people are making? So obviously there's the total hacks, as you just heard there. He's like, well, we need 4 Biden appointees, and right, that's like a total hack job. Is any of them is there any semblance of truth, right? Like I've heard something about like, well, we need more circuit or district courts. I don't even know the right terminology, right? We need more circuit courts, and we should have 1 justice per circuit court or something. Is there any legitimacy at all?
No, there is no legitimacy to PAC in the Supreme Court. Some people on the left are trying to make a more intellectual argument about population growth. Well, we've had population growth during the entire existence of our republic, and we've had a relatively stable number of justices, anywhere between 6 and 10. So this idea that we need to, essentially add 45% more justices to our Supreme Court now, when Joe Biden is the president and the Democrats control the Senate, it's just disingenuous. This is a pure political power grab by the Democrats. There's nothing more to it. They want total control. And the only thing that's stopping them from total control are 5 justices on the Supreme Court.
Yeah. And I love the Nadler clip. They're so good at marketing. He said, we're not packing the court, we're unpacking the court. And I'm afraid people are going to fall for that. Let's transition over to D.C. statehood. So what's the goal here with turning D.C. into a state?
The goal is simple. They want to add 2 more Democrat senators because they want to pad their majority. They want to pass H.R. 1 to make it very easy to commit voter fraud. And so then you can guarantee that Republicans never win elections again. They want to add D.C. as a state, maybe Puerto Rico, hell, maybe Guam, the Virgin Islands. I don't know where it stops. But each time they add one of these new states, you'll notice that they're not exactly conservative bastions. They want to add new states where you're going to have 2 new Democrat senators. And then they want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to pack the lower courts. And voila, they have total control over us. And there's nothing we can do to reverse it.
It's smart. We need to be calling for splitting Texas into 2 or 4 or something. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be thrilled about that. So my understanding is D.C. used to be a square, and part of it went over the Potomac into Virginia, and they just, I forget what this was, but they just gave that part to Virginia. What if we made D.C. Maryland again?
You could do that. You could make you can actually retrocede the Alexandria and Arlington back into D.C. and then and then you can make D.C. square again, and Republicans can start winning in Virginia again, and then maybe we can get rid of the D.C. Home Rule Act of 1973 because the D.C. political leaders have proven during these riots that they're not capable of defending our nation's capital, and so maybe that's the way to go. Instead of D.C. statehood, maybe we should do the opposite.
Wait, okay, so that's interesting. So you're saying give that part of D.C. give the part of Virginia that used to be D.C. back to D.C. so that Virginia would then be a red state because all those blue voters wouldn't be voting in Virginia anymore?
Correct. And then get rid of D.C. home rule, and so then they have nothing. I mean, I live in D.C., and I'm being kind of facetious here, but if Democrats want to play these power games, then we can play these power games.
So what's D.C. home rule? What's that law?
In 1973, Congress is in charge of D.C., right? And that's under our Constitution. In 1973, Congress gave D.C. the ability to elect our own mayor here and have a semblance of home rule. And, there have been times where Congress has had to take away our home rule, like when Marion Barry got caught on videotape with a prostitute smoking crack. And so Congress had to take away home rule for a bit. But essentially, D.C. is run as a city with a mayor and a city council. And if Congress wants to get rid of that, Congress can get rid of that.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Listen, Republicans need to strike back. And otherwise, they're going to keep moving that Overton window. They're going to get away with this. Mike Davis at the Article 3 Project. What's the website, Mike?
Article3project.org. Article3project.org.
Man, thanks for your work on this. We can't let this happen. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you very much.